Imagine a world where LSS, instead of contracting artists, would use a powerful AI to generate the art for our beloved card game. In this video, I'll show you the world of Uprising generated by one of the most powerful AI for generating images. I will use 3 different methods for each asset, and then at the end of the video I will show you how you can do it yourself. In the future I will also do a video for the other sets. To see how the AI generates the images, I will go a bit more in detail with Volker. So the first approach I've done was to take the description that is present in the Flesh and Blood website and feed it into the AI. From here the AI gives us 4 possible images, and then I chose the one that fit the best. So I think this is what fits the best for Volker from the generated images from the AI. Then the second method is to give my own description. For example, for Volker I used a city at the feet of a giant active volcano. Try to stay a bit generic and see what the AI generates. The last method was to feed to the AI the exact image of the Volker asset. You can get these images directly from the Flesh and Blood website. And feeding the images to the AI, we can see how the AI interprets the image and recreates it. And then I pick the best one to me to make the Volker image. I really like this image and it looks pretty close to the real Volker. Then from here I use the 3 different heroes in our Uprising set and try to recreate them with the same methodology. Here you can see the picture of Fi from the description. Doesn't really look much like Fi, but this is what I got from the algorithm. Then I went a bit more in specific, trying to describe who Fi is to the AI, and I said he's a young man with spiky hair, with a burn scar on their face, wearing a ninja red armor and wearing a searing katana. And here is the result. I'm quite pleased with the result. It doesn't resemble much Fi, but looks pretty cute. And lastly, I fed the image. We get a couple of images that are quite good for Fi, and some are like a bit of a mess. But the AI understood what we're trying to do, and in the end the final product is actually quite close to Fi's, and I really like it. Next up we have Dromai. The description talks a lot about the dragons, so I'm not surprised that from the description the AI understood to draw dragon instead of Dromai, but they're quite good looking dragons. Then I tried to narrow it down with my own description that was a lady of Chinese descent wearing a traditional small red dress surrounded by dragons. As you can see, she looks a bit more like the card that we know of Dromai. And actually the upscale 1 version is probably one of my favorite cards that I've generated so far. And our last hero is Icelander. From the description the AI picks up more or less the gist of who Icelander is and her snowy surrounding, but the image is not really well defined. Then I tried to describe Icelander and I think this was probably not a great success. I said a female ice wizard with white hair, with a frosty ice staff and an ice blue dress. Looks a bit more like Elsa from Frozen, but that's not a bad result. And then, as I did for the other 2 heroes, I fed the image art of Icelander into the algorithm, and we can see some like cool scenes we got from it, and looks pretty nice. Doesn't really depict Icelander from a portrait version, but looks like a combat scene. Now I'm going to show you how I created the images. I joined the Midjourney server, which has a free 25 image you can create and enter some paid subscriptions. But once you enter, you are put in some newbie channels. You can enter many of them, and you can see people are creating the various images, which is quite cool. But once you have a subscription, you can actually message the bot. You can use the same commands in the newbie channels, but they're quite busy, so I will be using the direct message to the bot. This is all the images I've generated so far. Lots of Reiner, for example. So what you want to do in here is to type the command, or also you do it in the channel, like /imagine, and then whatever prompt you want to give, like the story or like a character. For this time, let's try with genies. Here is the description that I use for genies: old merchant smoking a pipe, carrying a big tent full of goods. Then if you want the aspect ratio to be like a background, you do the AR 16 and 9, which makes the aspect like this, and then you just let it work. As you can see, the AI is trying to generate the image, and as you can see, the description has gone and generates genies as the AI understands it. You can also use an image with /imagine and the image, and we can see what happens with the image. We're still generating the image, but it's taking inspiration and clues from the image that we passed in. We passed the genius art image to the AI, and let's see what happens. And as we can see, it is just finished now. We have the genies like from the image. I don't know why they have this border, but the AI sometimes does weird stuff. But yeah, here it is. And from here you can decide to make variation out of one of these two images. For example, this second one, you do a variation of the second one, or you can make it bigger by clicking upscale. So which art did you like the most from Uprising, and which heroes are you looking forward to generate from the AI for the next set? Please let me know down in the comment. Also, I'll probably do some playmats AI generated inspired by Flesh and Blood art. If you're interested in any of them, please let me know. I might bring some to give away at Worlds. But for now, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you next time.